Good morning, GracePointe friends and family, and welcome to this edition of From the Pastor's Desk. I'd like to share with you a word of encouragement that the Lord has laid upon my heart. It can be found in Philippians chapter 1, verse 6. It says, "Being confident of this very thing, that he who has begun a good work in you will complete it until the day of Jesus Christ." I'd like to talk to you today about the wilderness of the Spirit. When we first get saved and come into the kingdom, it seems like God's all over us. He answers even the most selfish prayers, it seems, and just no matter where we go, we see God in all things and through all things. And just it was God this and God that, and just God seems very, very near to us during this time. But then after a while, and you've been here a while, it seems like God kind of pulls back from you, and it leaves you wondering, well, what's going on? Did I do something wrong? Did I mess up? And for some people, we go to a place called the wilderness. And if you remember, God sent His own Son, Jesus, into the wilderness after He publicly affirmed Him at His baptism. So no one seems to escape the wilderness experience of Christianity. And what happens in this wilderness is, it seems like you're praying and your prayers are hitting the ceiling or the heavens are brass, and you're calling out to God, but He's not taking calls that day. It would seem, but that's not the case. Actually, Hebrews 13:5 says, "For He Himself has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you." So what I want you to understand is that whether it feels like God is there or not, He's there. He's always there because He promised, "I'll never leave you nor forsake you." So, but then how come He seems a million miles away? And what that is this is what is called the wilderness of the Spirit. God got to send us all out into the wilderness for a time of testing and refining of our faith. A lot of times we look for answers, and what's the meaning of this, God, and where are you, and why is all this stuff happening? And I've learned in my own life that the mountain is not so much meant to teach you something as it is meant to make you something. And the wilderness is a place of preparation. God is preparing you for the things He has down the line for you. And so for me, when I went through the wilderness of the Spirit, I met Jesus Christ in jail after 15 years of addiction. I was released to a program, and then after the program, I got out into the real world, and I was no longer practicing my faith in a controlled environment, and I fell flat on my face. Praise God, it didn't cost me my sobriety, but nonetheless, it kind of put me in a hurt locker, and just God seemed a million miles away from me at the time, and I'm like, man, what's going on? I'm asking everybody, what do I do? And so what I did was I kept going in the last direction of the last thing that God had told me. I just kept moving in that direction, whether I felt like it or not, man. I'll be honest with you, at times, getting up and going to church felt like going to the dentist. It was not a good time in my life, but I kept moving forward, always forward, never backwards. I would read anything I could get my hands on. I would try to help other people out instead of focusing on myself during this time. But it was a time of preparation, and just during that time, and this is what I want to tell you today to encourage you out there, is that during that time, it seemed like nothing, and I do mean nothing, was happening. It seemed like my life was at a standstill, and I just wondered, am I saved? Am I making a difference? I had more questions than answers, but the bottom line was it seemed like nothing was happening. And what I believe the Lord wants you to know today is here in Philippians 1:6, that being confident of this very thing, that He who has begun a good work in you will complete it until the day of Jesus Christ. So even when it seems like nothing's happening, something is happening. For me, during that it was like a period of 2 years where He just pulled His Spirit off me, man. I was left in this wilderness, and you got to get through it. You can't go back. You can set up shop and stay there, but that's no fun. I mean, zero fun. But you got to go through it. And for me, when it seemed like nothing was happening, in hindsight, years later, looking back to that time in the wilderness, I've learned that a lot has happened. Up here at GracePointe, I do this program called ASAP Recovery, that the primary purpose of this program is to have an authentic, growing relationship with Jesus Christ, whereby the believer can experience victory over addictions or willful sin, for that matter. And in hindsight, I've learned that this program was primarily birthed during the things that happened and the things that I learned during those 2 years of almost silence. And so even though it seemed like nothing was happening, something was happening. I'm in the process of writing a book on our program, ASAP Recovery, and about 67,000 words into it. It's the equivalent of AA's big book, so to speak. But that book was birthed out of that time of the wilderness. And then more importantly, our program and the people that come to it are a result of what happened during that time of the wilderness. We've got guys like Mark Stevie up here that's up here Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays seeking God with all their heart, soul, mind, and strength. He's now going to Bible college. You got your Amy and Johnny Jones, people that have sidestepped over in from AA into the church and who's growing daily in their relationship with Jesus Christ. And I could go on and on with all kinds of peoples, but time would not allot for that. But it's sufficient to say that these people are a direct result of staying the course and keeping moving forward during that wilderness time. So even when it seems like nothing's happening, something is happening. God is preparing you for what He is preparing you for, to use cliches, but that's exactly what's happening. So wherever this message finds you, GracePointe friends and family, maybe you're just feeling like nothing's happening, nothing's moving. Trust me, something is. Just trust in the Lord. Lean not on your own understanding, and He'll make your path straight. Keep moving forward. Don't give up. And if you're struggling, come on up here to GracePointe Community. We meet on Sunday mornings at 10:30. We would love to talk with you, pray with you, walk alongside you. If this message has encouraged you or spoken to you in any way, or you know someone who might be in the wilderness of the Spirit, be sure to hit like and share on this on your Facebook page to share it with them. And be sure to tune in next week when we bring you another message from the pastor's desk. Thanks, and have a blessed day.